Do. Hi guys, welcome back to the Pageant project. If you ever need evidence of why you shouldn't hire me as your stylist, Exhibit A, I was in the shower getting ready to have a somewhat earlier night than the 1 or 2 a.m. starts that I've been having recently, and I realized I haven't done this week's video. I haven't done this week's video. It's been a pretty manic week. I've been looking at some new AI stuff. I think you guys know how much I'm into AI, and I've been playing around with the new image generator, and some absolutely amazing results. Slightly scary, I have to say, when you look at a photo of yourself and you can't tell whether it's real or not, but that's the future we're living into. Also put up the Christmas tree today. I was thinking about showing you guys, but I can't easily do it, but very happy with that. Got a new Christmas tree that has all these LED lights on, so it's a lot easier to put up than our old Christmas tree. And I love Christmas, just everyone coming together and being somewhat friendly and normal. I don't like that Mariah Carey song, but I like Christmas. Anyway, what I wanted to talk to you this week is something that I mentioned in one of my Instagram reels, which is 3 ways to practice your interview, your pageant interview, specifically when you are watching yourself back. Now, by now, if I haven't flogged the dead horse quite enough yet, the best way for you to practice, or one of the most fundamental ways that you need to practice your pageant interview, is to record your own answers and get feedback, not to just rely on a coach's feedback or your mum's feedback, no matter how good they are or how well-intended they are. Nothing takes the place of you looking at you. And to give you an example, this week I was working with one of the Miss Volunteer America state title holders, and she's young. I asked her how much what's her goal when it comes to nationals, and she makes no bones about it. She wants to win. And I asked her when's the last time that she had seen herself do a pageant interview answer. And unfortunately, like I've said, about 80% of you, her answer was, oh, she's never seen it. Now, the funny part is she's an athlete. She's a college athlete. And as part of her athletics training, I asked her, how do you train for your athletics? And she said, well, I do my thing. The coach records it. And then I watch the recording back with him. He gives me my feedback. Then I go do it again. And I watch it again. And I make sure that when I do a correction, I know how it feels in my body. And I said, that's interesting. So you do this with your athletics. You're very good at what you do. And you've never done this with your pageant interview. And I had a session with her. We went about an hour, a bit over an hour. And suffice to say, by the end of it, she had a lot of things that she could go away and work on by herself. This is one thing I keep impressing on you guys. I'm not here to make you dependent on me. I'm here to give you some distinctions, some tools, some new ways of looking at things. And then I truly believe you can go and work away, and you should go away and work on that by yourself. Because from my experience as a tennis coach, and I think your experience as well, you tell me if this is true, the people who make the most progress most rapidly are the ones who practice on a consistent basis. I had some tennis students whose parents would take me on as a private coach simply because their parents were wealthy, or the parents were wealthy and they could afford private lessons. And the only time that sometimes those kids would practice was when they had that private lesson with me once a week. And guess what? How much did they improve? Not much. Maybe even fair to say, not at all. Because when you only do something once a week and then you don't even look at it, the chances of you really improving out of this world to the level of, okay, I want to win a national title, whether it's in pageantry or tennis, are slim to none. Whereas the people I found who improve the fastest, and I include myself in that category because, once again, I taught myself tennis using the very video analysis that I keep telling you guys use it, because now it's easier than when I used it, easier to use, and it's free. I taught myself tennis, and I never would have gotten as good at tennis as I did if I had taken on any coach, not because I'm so brilliant, but because there's nothing quite like seeing yourself doing something and objectively seeing what you look like, what you sound like, in the case of interview, or in the case of tennis, what your swing is like, or what your footwork is like. And so I had that session with that title holder this week, and one of the biggest things I gave to her, and I could see because she had a notepad and she didn't start with a notepad, but I could tell the session was going well because at some point she went to reach for her notepad and started, scribbling down notes. As a coach, you're hitting the mark when the student is, or the client is feverishly writing things down. And the thing I want to give you is, okay, so you record your answer. And by the way, if you go, well, where do I get the questions from? Again, flogging a dead horse, ChatGPT, right? Use the voice mode. Say, hey, ChatGPT, ask me some pageant interview questions. And you can be more specific than that if you want, but that's always a good start. It asks you a question, and then you answer, and you record your answer. But here are 3 ways that you can review that answer that will help catapult your improvement even further. Now, nothing will take the place, and there's nothing wrong with just watching the answer. So you record the answer, watch it, give yourself some feedback, iterate, improve, do it again. So record, watch it back. That's fine. And if you do that, honestly, you're going to be ahead of 80% of your competition because 80% aren't doing this at all. If, however, you want to take it to the next level, here's something that I learned. I don't know what his last name is. His first name, I think, is Vin, V-I-N-H. And I keep seeing him come up on my Instagram because I'm so fascinated by his work. He works in communication. He's not a pageant coach, but pageant interview is all about communication and persuasion, part sales as well. And he said, when you are watching video of yourself back, here are 3 ways to do it. So again, nothing wrong with just watching it back normally, listening to it, that's great. But here are 3 other ways. Number 1, watch it back, but mute the sound. So number 1, watch it back, but mute the sound. Number 2, listen to it without the video. Listen to it without the video. So take your phone, hit play, and then put the phone down. You can't face down, screen down. You will be able to hear your answer, but you won't be able to see it. So that's number 2. Number 3, read a transcript of your answer. Transcript being the written word. So take that answer, put it into written words, and then read it. Now, the easiest way to do that one, by the way, because the other 2 are very easy to do. The easiest way to do that third one is, again, using ChatGPT, because if you speak your answer to it, it will actually transcribe it for you in front of your very eyes. So if you're wondering how to do that, that's how you do that. But the 3 ways. So let's go through them one by one and why. So the 3 ways. Number 1, watching it back without sound. We have spoken in great depth, and I'm sure you know this, how important the non-verbals are when it comes to pageant interview. We've all heard it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Fine. How do I actually implement that into my practice? Well, play it back, play your answer back, and mute the sound. Then all you see is your body language. And you'll get better at this with practice. You'll notice more things. But during the session that I had with the state title holder, even just this week, I noticed when I was giving her the question, she wasn't smiling. And I think it was because she was listening to the question very intently and she was formulating her answer as I was asking it, but she wasn't smiling. She actually was almost jutting her bottom lip out, like she was quite upset with me. And I said, you look like you want to punch me in the face, because I recorded her answer in front of her. This is part of what we do in our mock interview sessions. I record the answer and I show it to you straight away. So we use this very, very same principle of video analysis in our mock interview session. And I showed it to her and I said, what are you doing with your face? Why do you look so upset? And she had a laugh about it. But the thing was, she had never noticed that. In fact, there was a lot of things that she noticed about herself through watching the videos that she had never known about her interview before, because she had never watched it. And the problem is, if when the judge is asking you a question, you look like you're sucking on the proverbial lemon, it makes the judges feel really uncomfortable. It makes them think, oh, she's upset with me, or she doesn't really want to be here, or she's got an attitude. Now, none of this is true, but It's the face, it's the facial expression. I think, as I said, I think it's because she was thinking about her answer and she was really concentrating. But you want to wear an easy smile on your face whilst you're listening to the question. You don't want to be looking at the judge staring daggers. And so that's why the first one is watch it, beg your pardon, watch your answer back without the sound. Because if you listen to the sound as well, it will distract you from the body language. So number one is to purely analyze your body language. Now, you might ask me, Adrian, well, what am I looking for? And my answer is simple. What image or what emotions do you want to give off? So when you enter that interview room or when you leave the interview room, you know how we ask you guys, what are the 3 words you'd use to describe yourself? Well, answer me this. What are the 3 words you want the judges to use to describe you after you leave? So you've done the whole interview, you're leaving. What are the 3 impressions or the 3 words you want to leave the judges with? It could be impressive, could be intelligent, could be relatable, could be humorous, quirky, whatever it is. So have those 3 answers. Maybe if it's only one answer, I want to be impressive or I want to be title holder material. Okay, great. So when you are watching your answer back without the sound, answer me this. Does that look like title holder material? Or does that look like someone who's impressive? Or does that look like someone who's intelligent, articulate, or relatable? So you've answered your own question there because, again, it's not my place to tell you what you should look like. That's up to you. Some of you are going to want to look more relatable, appear more relatable. Some of you are going to want to appear more mature. I know someone, good friend of mine, who's so relatable. Everyone loves her. Her problem is appearing mature because she's very, very bubbly. And so she needs to work on that. And this would be a great way for her to work on that is, okay, watch your answer back, turn the sound off. Now tell me, does this person look mature? And mature being important because if you're going to take on someone as a title holder, you probably want them to have a certain level of maturity. So that's number one. Watch it back without sound. And that's why we do it. That's why you do it, to analyze your body language. And again, how do you analyze it or what are you looking for? Answer your own question. You decide how you want to come across visually and then have a look at it yourself. You can tell when someone is looking impressive, articulate, intelligent. So just use your own knowledge there. We all know this. We don't need to be taught this. We already know it. Number 2, listen to it back without the video. So again, you'll play it, hit the play button, then put it screen down and just listen to it. Now, what are you listening for? Obviously, I'm listening to the quality of my voice, the tonalities, the intonation. Is my voice very monotone or does it go up and down naturally? How quickly do I speak? Do I use a lot of filler words? All these bits and pieces. Am I speaking too quickly? Am I speaking too slowly? All of that you will pick up because now you're not looking at the visual and you can really, really focus on just the sound of your voice. You probably know someone who, and I do this quite often, there are some people that I can listen to because the sound of their voice is so soothing that I almost put it on when I'm going to sleep. Now, I'm not saying you want it to sound like that. You don't want a voice that's putting people to sleep. But again, if you ask me, well, what should I sound like? The answer is up to you. When you are speaking, when you listen, do you find yourself you have a very nasal, almost irritating tone? I'm not saying that nasal is irritating, but that's how some people describe it. Is your inflection very monotone? That's something that I struggle with. So monotone meaning it's all kind of one note with very little variation. Or are you someone who has lots of likes, like this, like that, or or and. And this is something that my client this week noticed. Her entire answer was filled with and. It was like her answer had no period in it. It was and. It was just one long flow-on sentence. And she picked that up when she was listening to it. So that's why we do number 2. Listen to it without the video. So you don't have to distract yourself with what your hands are doing and all the body language stuff that we did in number 1. Number 3, the transcript of your answer, which again is your answer put into written word. Now, once again, the best way, the easiest way to do that, especially if you're using ChatGPT to give you the questions, ChatGPT will automatically transcribe your answer if you're using that voice mode. So as soon as you answer, you'll have the transcript right there. What are you looking for? This is where you can look at the actual content of your answer. The content. Did my content land? Did I answer the question? Was my answer structured? Or was it one, as I said before, one long flow-on sentence with and? Because the first two ways of analyzing your answers, so watching it back without the sound, and then the listening back to it without the video, you'll get an emotional reaction to it, good or bad, because those are the non-verbals that we keep talking about. The body language, the tonality of someone's voice. The written word doesn't have that. The written word is purely the logic part of it, the content part of it. And so you do want to analyze it because it is important. You do want to make sure that you've answered the question, maybe that you've used it to turn to one of your talking points or to highlight an achievement or accomplishment of yours. I would say this is the least important of the three. Unfortunately, it's the area where most of you spend all of your focus. I say it's the least important. That's not to say it's unimportant. It's just that I believe the body language and the tonality of the voice, again, we talk about it's not what you say, it's how you say it, or we talk about 93% of communication is nonverbal. We've all heard that. But the verbal part is important, and that's where you'll analyze that with a transcript. So that's the way that you can make sure that your content is on point. So does that make sense? You are getting your question from a ChatGPT or your mum or your coach, whatever it is. You do your answer, you record it, you watch it back, and obviously you can just watch it back normally. But if you want to take it to that next level and you really want to get the most that you can out of your practice, and you want to make sure, frankly, you're not missing any bases, watch it, review your answers through those three filters. So again, number one, watch it back, no sound. Number two, listen to it back, no video. Number three, read the transcript. And if you look at it in those three ways, you might find body language, great, solid. I look friendly, I look relatable. Again, whatever it is you want to look like, I look like that. Cool. My body language is 10 out of 10. Okay. And then your tonality, you might go, 7 out of 10. My voice is a bit too flighty, going all over the place, and I want it to sound a bit smoother. Maybe I want to slow it down a bit. So 7 out of 10 for my vocal tonalities, my vocal inflections. And then number three, you look at that transcript and you go, oh my God, this is just one long garbled sentence, and it's just a list of bullet points. There's no story behind it. There's no structure. And I don't even think I answered the question. So 3 out of 10 for the content. Well, now you know exactly where to work on, where to begin. And by the way, in the session that I had this week, that was where I think my client she looked at it and went, that's an area that she really needed to improve on. And so what we did was we reverse engineered it. We've already got ChatGPT open. And I said, well, ChatGPT has your answer. Let's get it to analyze it and suggest a better answer. And so it did that. It came up with a much more structured answer. And I got my client, I put it up in the chat, and I said, read it out. But read it out as though you're speaking it. So it's kind of like rehearsing lines. Put the inflections in as you would when you're normally speaking. So she went into it. And because it was so well structured when she was saying it, she was able to say it with more confidence, more quickly, and the sentence was much more structured. It actually answered the question. And I said, do it again. Do it again. I think I got it to do about 3 times. And I said, okay, how do you feel? And she said, that's much better. It sounded much more structured. And by the way, I got ChatGPT to give her 6 potential answers to the question. And she picked the one that she liked most. So this is not about, again, never saying that you just do something in AI or whatever it is and you just accept that that's the best one. It's a training partner. It's a sparring partner. It's a thinking partner. But you can use it to boost, to catapult your improvement to be much faster and at much higher levels than anyone else is going to do by themselves, or even with a coach, no matter how good the coach is. And that includes, by the way, me. Okay, so the purpose of the coach is to give you the outside perspective, or maybe give you some new distinctions or some new tools. So in this case, using ChatGPT, recording your answers, or the 3-step framework that we discussed, but then you go away and you can work on it and use AI as your training partner. So please do this. I've kept banging on about using AI to ask you the questions. I've kept banging on about the importance of recording your answers and watching them back. And I think I'm beginning to get through to you. But I know there are so many of you still who won't do it. And I know why. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you don't know how. I don't know how to record myself. No. It's because you're scared. You're scared to actually be confronted with the truth of what you look like and what you sound like. And I know this because that's what the girls themselves have told me when they're being honest. That's the real truth of it. If you haven't practiced your pageant interview by recording your answers and watching it back, I don't care how many people you've paid to pageant coach you. I don't care how many people you've paid to mock interview you. Those are all excuses to avoid you having to confront the uncomfortable truth, which is to watch a video of yourself and you can't run. The video doesn't lie. That is how you look like, and that is how you sound like. No coach, no parent, no talking into the mirror or answering questions in my head is going to take the place of that. I keep saying that, and I'm going to keep banging this. I'm not being very subtle, I know, but as I said previously, it's like practicing without using video is like driving down a highway or a freeway at 60 miles an hour blindfolded, and you want me to tell you how to steer, and you think we're somehow not going to crash. It's not going to happen. You need to be the driver, as I told my client this week, the driver of the crazy bus, the driver of the crazy ship, whatever analogy works for you. You need to confront the truth, because it's only from the truth and from that self-awareness where you can make real improvement. Because otherwise, all you're going to get, it's a bunch of cliches and frankly, a lot of noise. Answers such as, or advice such as, oh, be more authentic, show more personality, talk about your talking points. I mean, all of this is well-intended advice and it has its place. But all I need to do, and I know this because I've done it so many times, record you, get you to watch it back, you analyze it, you tell me what you think. And by the way, no one has watched their answers back and gone, I'm so cool, I don't need to practice, I'm perfect. No. My client this week, at the beginning of our session, she was feeling like her interview was solid. She hadn't practiced for a while. She was rusty, but she thought, oh, it's pretty solid. I asked her at the end, okay, where do you think, now that she had seen herself for the first time, and I'd given her different ways of practicing, and she had seen the body language, she had heard the tonality, she had seen the structure of her answer, or lack thereof. And I said, okay, where do you think you are out of 10? 3 or 4. Which is not great, right? But that's the honest truth, and that's the only place we can start, 3 or 4 out of 10. And I asked her, well, you want to win nationals. Where do you think you need to be out of 10 to win nationals? 100 out of 10. So, all right, we got some work to do. But that is not a bad thing. Because if you want to get, it's what we call when we're coming up with a map. And I said to her, I said, give me directions to, let's say, Jackson in Tennessee, because that's where Miss Volunteer America is. I said, I need some directions. How do I get to Jackson, Tennessee? And she laughed a bit. And then she said, well, where from? And I said, that's exactly my point. You can't give me directions or give me a map until not only you know my destination, but you also need to know where I'm starting from. Because the directions to Jackson in Tennessee are very different if you're starting from Memphis or New York, very different to me starting in Sydney, Australia. And so if you know that you need to get to 100 out of 10 to win your interview, to win this pageant, and you know that you're starting at a 3, that's not bad. It might sound bad, but in my mind, it's, well, that's a big jump. So I'm now going to, and that's what I got it to do. You need to work out the map from how to get from a 3 out of 10 to 100 out of 10 in approximately 6 months, because that's when Miss Volunteer America will be. And I know you can do that because, you know, all these workouts and being a student, I know that you can come up with a plan yourself. Again, it's not my place to tell you what to do. I'm here to help. But 3 out of 10 to 100 out of 10, you got some work cut out. You got your work cut out for yourself. But this is a good thing because she now has some urgency. She also knows some new distinctions and some new ways of practicing because she really hadn't practiced for probably a couple of months. And so use this framework. Use AI to ask you the questions, record your answers, watch it back, and then use this framework to turbocharge that even further. If you have any questions, let me know. Have an amazing week, and I'll speak to you next time.